Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start off today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going way better than fantastic and your journey to self-betterment is going way better than fantastic as well. Today I wanted to talk about something very, very important. A subject that ties in with the last couple of my videos. You see, we are really tackling societal narcissism here, while at the same time dealing with our individual journeys in regards to healing from narcissistic abuse. And dealing with the day-to-day narcissism we might still be experiencing in our own homes. Hopefully you have gotten away from whatever narcissist that was in your life. And you are on the journey to healing and self-betterment. But I realize that some are still working hard to make that break as safely as humanly possible. With that said, I also realize something else. There are a great amount of people that are in the world that are following what we call societal narcissism without even knowing it. And as a result, it's put dating and romantic relationships into a terrible tailspin. Where if you really want to get out there and meet someone kind and decent, it's not impossible. It's not impossible. And actually I say, if you would like to meet someone, don't be shy. Get out there and live life. However, be prepared for not a lot of great success no matter if you are a man or a woman. And the reason I say that is, things have changed and have changed very rapidly in regards to a great many following a way of being that is toxic and even hurting their own chances at love and happiness. Now part of what I'm going to address is going to be from what appears to be a great disservice to women. And what also is a great disservice to men. You see, the title really asks an important question. Is he needy or really strong yet kind? You see, after going through online and watching lots of content, there is a lot, and I do mean a lot of content out there, regarding how men are looking too needy in relationships, and how they are so-called hurting their chances with women that might find them attractive if they did this tactic or that tactic instead of whatever it is they are doing. Now here's the thing. I realize there is such a thing as being needy. And I realize that such a thing can and often does push healthy people away. Actually, this is something I've talked about for years on this channel in regards to self-betterment and healing from narcissistic abuse. For most of us that grew up in such a home, both men and women, this can be a struggle. Not oversharing. And going on and on about every detail about our lives, with the hopes to prove we are a decent person. And I can indeed look back and realize there were some ladies in my growing up years that I believe liked me. But I didn't see the signs and didn't know what I was doing was probably the reason why things didn't develop. And as a result, what happens? We attract narcissists. Because we give them all of the ammo they need to mirror us. Because we likely shared every bit of information about ourselves on the first few dates or possibly within the first month of dating this person. No vetting process. No nothing. Just we are with this person and we are now in love, and we might have thought they loved us too. Well, we were wrong. But with that said, what happens if we did a lot of work and have gotten much better regarding slowing things down and not sharing or showing all of our hand right from the gate? Then what? Things should just fall into line, right? Well, not completely. And the reason why is, even though we have made changes, and we are still making corrections to become better versions of ourselves, society has dramatically changed under our feet. And so have the rules. Now I think it's important to know, or look at, who is the author of these rules, and who is calling the shots. And comparing the rules of years ago to today and seeing how and why these rules were changed. So let's talk from a male point of view for a moment. Since I'm a cartoon male, if a man doesn't overshare, and has a great sense of humor, and can be strong and stoic, along with being sociable and able to engage in a good conversation, that coupled with being decent and caring, that decent and caring bit will get this man called too nice by a great amount of women in society. Now, I don't blame women for this, because I know that you aren't the ones that wrote the rules. But you are just as much hurt by these rules as the men are. Again, if someone is chasing you around, no matter if you are a man or woman, and they are just over the top with their behavior, that in any era would be considered way too much. However, what I find interesting is a great amount of these same ladies that would call these certain men as being too nice. They will at the same time talk about wanting to have a relationship like the old couple they witnessed the other day while at the local park. And as I've mentioned before, most of these older couples met while they were in school. They likely were neighbors and or lived around the corner from one another. And they had plenty of time to vet one another and crush on one another. Now what I also want you to do is watch some of these videos, with these old couples talking about what attracted them to each other. And usually it was a combination of things. Yes. For some there was a little bad boy thing happening there. The guy might have rolled up paper and threw them at her while in class while in school. She also might have loved walking by his house on the weekend on the way to the store to see him and his brothers working on their cars. Very much bad boy macho stuff, right? But on the other hand, this young man began to write her love letters. Or they would talk on the phone every night after dinner time for an hour or whatever time their parents allowed them to use the phone for. Now true, if a call was missed by the man or even the woman missing the call too, both would be on pins and needles to have their phone call the next day. If the man could sing, he might sing to her on the way home from school. Watch the movie about the life of the group The Temptations. One of the main singers sang to a girl he was interested in while his friends backed him up on the way home from school. Today, if someone did that, they would be considered soft and weak. But back then it was seen as kind and sweet, and even a turn on. You have to ask yourself, where did love songs go? Back in the 50s there were numerous songs singing directly about a woman and how much they love this woman with the name of the woman in the song. Or they called the woman they liked Earth Angel. Again, were there players and bad men and bad women back then? You betcha. But if your intentions were good, and so was theirs, it was seen as kind for the man in the equation to show up with his car freshly washed and waxed and with flowers in his hand. He wasn't seen as weak and a sucker. His gesture was seen as kind and appreciated. There were men back then that were tough in the sense they could work on things within their home, along with their cars. But at the time, they could every day tell their girlfriend how much they cared for them. They wrote letters. They dedicated songs. They bought flowers, and none of them were seen as weak. Today, if a man texts a woman the day after their first date, and says they had a great time, I'm not kidding you. There are channels all over YouTube saying this guy is thirsty and weak, and doesn't have the abundance mindset, so forth and so on. But here's the saddest part. The women that will see this guy as weak for sending such a text. Hey, I had a great time last night. We should meet up again next weekend. That simple message and interest level is seen as weak by a great many women in society. And men are accepting this and trying to teach men how to game their way into some sort of mishmash of a relationship, if you can call it that. Now again, if someone went on such a date and spilled their guts about their entire life, I would say, you have a lot of work to do. Because I think it's really good to take things slow. Really slow. Please know that these great relationships with these older couples, they likely knew of each other for several years before they started dating. So they had a little bit better of a chance at picking the right person than just meeting on a dating app. So slow and steady is a good thing. And based on today's climate, showing up with flowers and all of that on a first date might seem out of place. However, and this is what I would like a lot of women to listen up to. If a man is kind and decent on the date, maybe you find out he doesn't drink or smoke. You find out he's hard working. He's not rich, but he's for sure doing his best with what he has. And physically you are attracted to him. But then he thanks you for the date. And the next day says, let's meet up next week. Now if you can't legitimately meet up next week, hey, that's understandable. But please do not think the guy is weak because he acts like he likes you. The couples from the era you look at with fondness, the men did act like they liked the woman they were trying to date. And it was seen as cute and fun and a part of the process. The problem is the rules in society changed. Why did they change? Well, before you get to the why, let's get to the possible who. You see, as I've mentioned before, narcissists can be a clerk at the grocery store. They can be a mover and shaker in Hollywood. And wherever a narcissist is at, they bring their narcissist garbage with them. And one thing narcissists love, they love to turn other people into them by getting them to act against their own best interests. On a one-on-one level, a narcissist might become your friend, let's say through work. And once they've gained your trust through a series of good deeds, they will slowly work on you to get you to believe that your loving spouse is no good for your life. And you will actually leave the person that you were meant to be with because a snake of a person slithered into your life and metaphorically poisoned you, and you're thinking about the person that loves you the most. This is just a real work example of how narcissists bring narcissism to others, and how they can affect the behaviors of others. Well, what do you think would happen if a narcissist was a major mover and shaker in Hollywood? Or if there were several of them? Or in even higher places than Hollywood? That's right. They would likely create content and situations and scenarios to gain your trust. Then weave into this trust things they know you will have a high likelihood of copying. Things that aren't good for you and your life. And things that will keep you unhappy and lonely at the end of the day. Think. Where did all of the love songs go? They just vanished out of thin air? They're fashionable for decades and decades, and one day just poof, they're gone. And they are replaced with music telling both men and women to be something that works against their own best interests. In my last video, I mentioned, you can lead a horse to water but you can't make them drink. However, there are some people out there that are wising up and drinking the wisdom some are putting out there, while others aren't. Nothing you can do about those that don't want the wisdom and information except pray for them. However, good content is key. Because you never know what might draw someone to what you are saying or doing. And they might say, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then another layer of their journey to self-betterment will begin. You see, just like how narcissistic homes work, people in society are molded to think and act in a way that keeps them divided. They can never get on the same page. Because this isn't right and that isn't right. Or so they think. So I want the ladies in this instance, please rethink what you believe to be too nice or corny. Is it just that this man is on time and says and does what he says he's going to say and do? If that is the case, you might have a winner on your hands. Then I want you to think about why society tells you he is corny and that this guy over there, that is up to God knows what, is what and who you need. In my last video, I mentioned, when a decent man and a decent woman no longer link up and have a relationship, that stops the line of decent children being born. And what are you and I left with? We are left with evil. Because you are told that if you date this dangerous person that you will be so-called safe. And that you are hardwired to be attracted to strength and masculinity. However, this isn't true masculinity. But then you can have a guy that works out, and is handsome in your eyes, and he has a great sense of humor. But because he showed a normal interest in you, then the attraction dies. And you want someone that doesn't like you. And you are told this is normal. But I ask you, listen to the music around you with an objective ear. Then I ask you to put on some music from the 50s. And notice the difference. We aren't talking about someone being weird or creepy. We are talking about someone that you are attracted to. Or you were attracted to. But because he didn't ignore you, or give you the narcissistic silent treatment, you no longer like him. You just can't make this stuff up, people. You just can't. And what is sad is no one is making the leap to say, this is way off base. I think if people started questioning things a bit more and realizing, hey wait, is this designed to keep me single or with the wrong people? So I can continue the line of broken homes and pain and narcissism. Think. Almost all of the decent ways of meeting a spouse have been taken away. And what you are almost completely left with is online dating. And if you do meet someone in person for real, after you talk to him a while, and he's not dangerous enough, ask yourself, who put these thoughts in your head? And what good are they doing? Is he really needy? Or does he have a life but he's just showing natural and normal interest in you? Well, that's all I have for now. Leave your comments below. And let's talk about it. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.